Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call to order the City Council meeting for the City of Wheat Ridge, Colorado for October the 28th, 2019. If you would please stand with me and pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the clerk please call the roll?
David Keeter,
Present.
Leah Dozeman,
Here.
Christy Davis,
Here.
George Pond,
Present.
Larry Matthews,
Here.
Janice Hoppy,
Present.
and I didn't hear from Amanda Weaver, but I did have correspondence from Mr. Urban. His flight was from Washington, D.C. was first postponed, delayed, and then it was actually canceled. So because of airline issues and probably weather, he's not here.
Good. And I did get a message from Ms. Weaver that she was out of town at a conference, so would not be joining us tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure tonight to read a proclamation proclaiming November 16th through 24th National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week, and I would like to invite Ms. Kelly Baker from Jefferson County Homeless Coordinator to join me at the podium. We'll turn this around so the studio audience can see us tonight. This is a proclamation to proclaim National Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week, November 16 through 24, 2019. Whereas the City of Wheat Ridge, Colorado recognizes the importance of both increasing awareness of the broad reach of hunger and homelessness and demanding bold action from a broad coalition of community and state partners across government, business, the nonprofit sector, and citizens alike. And whereas it is unacceptable by a prosperous and generous state to have nearly 22,000 Colorado children and youth, together with their families and thousands of seniors, veterans, and other residents who do not have a safe, stable place to call home, or for 1 in 6 Colorado children to go hungry, and nearly 628,000 Coloradans to be food insecure. And whereas, in partnership with the City of Wheat Ridge, many organizations and initiatives such as Jeffco Connections, Heading Home, Community Table, and the Colorado Blueprint to End Hunger are committed to building well-being by connecting residents to available services, implementing public policy initiatives, and encouraging all Coloradans to learn more, speak up, and lend a hand so that the City of Wheat Ridge can be a community where everyone has a safe place to call home and enough food to eat. And whereas the City of Wheat Ridge has committed to hiring a half-time homeless navigator in 2020 as part of a countywide effort to address homelessness, and in the last 3 years, the Colorado Department of Local Affairs, Division of Housing, supported the creation or preservation of 7,745 affordable housing units in communities across Colorado, and in the state fiscal year 2018, dedicated $15.3 million in marijuana tax revenue to support housing interventions through the Homeless Solutions Program. And whereas the state of Colorado has improved from 44th in the nation in school breakfast to 11th, and over the last year, more than 35 state agencies, counties, healthcare systems, nonprofits, community leaders, and individuals with lived experience have launched the Colorado Blueprint to End Hunger, a 5-year plan to end hunger in every Colorado community. And whereas hunger and homelessness are solvable issues, and every resident is encouraged to speak up in support of efforts to end homelessness and hunger, and take actions such as volunteering, donating needed items, and supporting efforts by public leaders to increase affordable housing opportunities and food security, with the goal of making homelessness and hunger history within our community, within our state, and within our lifetime. Now, therefore, I, Bud Starker, Mayor, and the City Council of the City of Wheat Ridge, Colorado, formally designate November 16 through 24, 2019 as Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. In witness thereof, on the 25th day of October 2019, Bud Starker, Mayor. Would you like to say a few words?
Hi, Mayor and council members and guests here tonight. I just wanted to thank you very much for this proclamation and this acknowledgement of this, really critical issue that's occurring here in Jefferson County, but as we can see, in the larger metro area, of course, as well. I'm Kelly Barker. I'm the new regional homeless coordinator. I'm in my whopping 3rd week here on the job, but I'm with Jefferson County Human Services is where I'm housed. And so I'm really kind of this second spoke for this regional collaborative approach that we're just embarking upon. And, we're really, at Jefferson County, we're really supportive of the work you're doing here around hunger and homelessness. And we're really, really excited to get started with this approach and to get your homeless navigator on board and the other municipalities' navigators on board so we can really start to make an impact. So thanks for having me here tonight, and thanks for this proclamation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Take that with you.
All right.
All right. Council, in your council packets were a series of minutes from city council meetings, sessions, study notes, and special study notes. The city council minutes of July 8th, 2019, July 22nd, 2019, August 12th, 2019, August 26th, 2019, September 9th, 2019, September 23rd, 2019. We have study session notes, July 15, 2019, August 5th, 2019, August 19th, 2019, September 16th, 2019, October 7th, 2019, and special study session notes, September 9th, 2019, and September 23rd, 2019. I'm sure that all of you have reviewed those notes. Are there any corrections to the notes, Ms. Hoppy?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to apologize to Councilwoman Dozman. On October 7th, 2019, she let me know that she was not going to be able to come to the meeting because she was ill. I did not communicate that. Therefore, I would like the minutes to reflect that she was excused for her absence, please.
For what date?
October 7th.
October 7, 2019.
Thank you.
So an approved excuse for Ms. Dozman. Are there any other corrections, or Mr. Keeter?
Only a correction on July 8th where I'm referenced as Larry Keeter, who's an esteemed attorney in his own right, but not me.
What?
July 8th, I'm listed as Larry Keeter.
Instead of David. So we will make a correction on the first name for Mr. Keeter on the July 8th, 2019. Are there any other corrections to the minutes? With our thanks to the, yes, ma'am?
Mr. Mayor, I think that council deserves an explanation of why this is like it is. It has to do with the departure of Janice. She was the one who received the minutes when I would send them out to the public, and you would all get them that way. And when I was finished with them and sent them to that list, which included her, that was the trigger to put them in the next packet agenda. And the first couple of weeks after she left, it seemed to work out okay, but then it wasn't working out okay. And what we finally realized was that Laura McAvoy needed to be on the list, and she wasn't. And so she was never getting the draft minutes, so that's why they never appeared in the in your packets. So I'm sorry it took us so long to figure out what the issue was, but it's fixed now. So
Well, thank you very much for
That's
that
why.
explanation. Thank you for getting all of the minutes. Looks like we're just about up to date.
yeah.
Okay, so if there are no more corrections, we will let the minutes stand as corrected. We will now move to our citizens' right to speak. This is the citizens who wish may speak on any matter not on the agenda for a maximum of 3 minutes. And I have a number of people signed in on the roster. When I give your name, if you would please come to the podium and adjust the microphone so that it's comfortable to speak into and we can capture your comments. Give us your first name and last name if you would spell your last name, and give us your address. You may start speaking after that, and we have 3 minutes allocated for each speaker. Our first speaker is Katie Winter and Pam Breyer on deck.
Hi, good evening. My name is Katie Winner. It's Winner, as in winter. I'm from 15097 West 63rd Lane in Arvada, Colorado. I'm here tonight on behalf of the class of 2020 of Leadership Jefferson County to thank you for your mayoral proclamation for Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. Our class is comprised of young leaders in Jefferson County, and overwhelmingly we decided that our capstone project for our class would be to address this issue throughout our community. I think we are all aware that just because someone sees an issue or a problem doesn't mean something isn't being done about it. One of the things that makes me so irritated sometimes is to see people saying, I wish someone would do something about homelessness and hunger. It's really great to know that the city of Wheat Ridge, along with Jefferson County and partners across Colorado, are trying to do something. And just because you see someone who is homeless or suffering from food poverty doesn't mean that nothing's being done about it. In fact, our mayor, Mark Williams, and Mayor Starker, together on the Metro Mayor's Council, have been collaborating for many years about this with city managers, talking about the regional effort that is needed to really solve this problem. For if Wheat Ridge had a solution to hunger and homelessness by now, they would have shared that across the great USA and across our nation and country and our world, and we wouldn't have this problem anymore. But we still haven't gotten there yet, and it's going to take some years more of advocacy, awareness, and action for all of us to pitch in and solve this problem once and for all. I want to thank Mayor Starker for this proclamation and for council for your work. I want to just expose a few points that I think are really important. I'm sure Pam will mention it, but did you know that there are 3,135 Jeffco Public School students who qualify under McKinney-Vento Act for homelessness and hunger assistance? That's 1,355 more students than Denver Public Schools, and in our opinion, I think that's 3,135 students too many. We also should recognize that's only the students we can count in our system who are between the ages of 5 and 18, and so we must wonder and think about their families and their younger siblings that might be out there. At this moment, the Action Center in nearby Lakewood is doing a sock drive. They are also doing some advocacy and awareness events centered around that week of November 16th through the 24th. So if any of our community members would like to take part and take action, I encourage you to contact the Action Center or other partners and neighbors throughout Jeffco. Thank you for your time and your service, and thanks. I look forward to the day where we can get rid of hunger and homelessness in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Pam Breyer and Bob Brazel on deck.
Good evening. My name is Pam Breyer. That's B-R-I-E-R. My address is 616 South Cole Court, Lakewood, Colorado, 80228. Thank you for the proclamation, Mayor, and thank you to the City Council for all that you are doing in Wheat Ridge and in our larger community to support and bring awareness to the issues of hunger and homelessness. We at the Action Center are on the front lines of this issue every day, and I'm sad to say we are seeing increased demand for our resources, and that's why we wanted to really make a big deal about Hunger and Homelessness Awareness Week. We became aware of it nationally and wanted to make sure locally that we were all talking about the issues, bringing awareness to the problems that our neighbors are facing, and really putting a personal face on who is experiencing hunger and homelessness in our community. So many times the folks that when we think about hunger and homelessness, we're thinking about very sort of stereotypical views of who are struggling with these problems. And we know at the Action Center that it's our neighbors who are struggling with these problems. Increasingly, we're having individuals who are coming through our doors who are working multiple jobs and are still not able to make ends meet and need the support of places like the Action Center and other places throughout Jefferson County and our metro area to get by. So it is really important to us that you help us to talk about this issue and help us to raise awareness and also to raise ideas and solutions, bring our community together around impactful solutions for these problems. We, for one, want to be at the table with those promoting those solutions, and we are excited to be reopening our shelter in the coming months in partnership with Red Rocks Community College to address the challenge of homelessness among college students, which is a growing epidemic around the country. So we thank you for your help in bringing awareness to these problems, to bringing attention to those in our community who are suffering, and to helping us to serve them more. Right now at the Action Center, because of this early winter, we're struggling to keep up with coats, blankets, sleeping bags, boots, mittens, hats. So if you can help us to spread the word that there's tremendous need right now, and we don't have nearly enough in our stock to serve those who are in need. Thank you so much for your help in raising awareness tonight, and I appreciate all that Wheat Ridge has done to support the Action Center and our community at large. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, you may. We have a question here from one of our...
So I just want to ask you a quick question on the sock drive. So it says to bring the socks on Wednesday, December 4th from 12 to 5. Can folks bring them early?
Well, we're trying actually to break a world record that day of the most socks collected in one day.
Okay.
So that's why we're collecting them on a single day. You're certainly welcome to collect them ahead of time, and if you need help getting them to us, we're happy to do that, but that's the reason why it's condensed to that one time frame.
Okay, so December 4th, 12 to 5.
That's correct.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I should have explained our timing on the lights here. You have 3 minutes for your speaking presentation. Our clerk will set the green light in motion once your name and address are provided, and then when the green light blinks, you have 30 seconds, and when the yellow light comes on, you've got 15 seconds left, and when the red light comes on, your time is up, and if you'd wrap up your remarks. Thank you. Our next speaker is Bob Brazel and Rachel Holteen on deck.
Bob Brazel, Brazel, 3830 Carr Street. I missed the meeting last week on the study session, so I watched it on my computer. And I noticed that Mr. Johnson there stated that short-term rentals, I don't know why we call everything by initials. Is that just so we can be stupid and tweet? But short-term rentals, so people know what we're talking about. That he stated that they're not allowed in the city, number one, according to our current codes. And then we had a whole group of people who got up and spoke in Citizens' Right to Speak from someplace on West 30th Avenue, which I believe is in District 1, from what I gathered, who are having a real issue with a whole lot of people living in a single-family home in the short-term rental environment, and people living in the basement, destroying their property values, destroying their neighborhood, and they're actually breaking the current codes that we have. And I was very disappointed in all of you, and I hope you did something after the meeting. But I didn't see one of you address this issue and tell Mr. Johnson to do his job and meet with these people, individual or in a group, and try and resolve this problem with that property owner. That's what your job is to take care of the citizens. Instead, you all started ranting and raving about your own personal beliefs in short-term rentals, which Larry's the only one who said that they haven't even been approved yet, and you're already trying to determine what kind of regulations we're going to have. What good do regulations do us in this city if we don't enforce the ones we have now. So I want you to all really kind of look inside yourself and start helping these people who come up to you with an issue and a problem so you can get it resolved. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Rachel Hulteen.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Rachel Hulteen, and that's Hultin, and I live at 4690 Balsam Street. I'm just up here tonight because I recognize tonight is the last regular city council meeting for council members Pond and Davis, as well as our city clerk. So I was thinking about it this morning, and you guys have been on the dais as long as I've been in this city. And when I first started coming to meetings, you guys were here. And when I first started getting involved in the city, you guys answered my calls and met with me. And actually, but I think you were on council too. But through those conversations and through many issues and different situations over the years, I know I've learned a lot. And I really spent some time today really thinking about what's happened over the last 8 years. And you guys have had literally a front row seat to a lot of things that have happened and things that haven't happened. And I just really recognize a lot of what I love about the city are things that you guys were stewards of. And so I'm just here tonight to thank all of you and thank Janelle for typing it all down and keeping track of all of it. So thank you guys. It's hard service. I know there's been a lot of really high emotion nights in this room, and you guys deal with a lot of things that don't take place on Mondays. And just how you've chosen to show up in our community is something we're all better for. So thank you. I have little thank you notes.
Thank you. That's all of the speakers that I have signed up to speak. Is there anyone here who hasn't signed up to speak who would like to speak at this time? You may come forward. I don't see anyone, so we will conclude our public citizens' right to speak and move to item number 1 on our agenda. Ms. Davis, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council Bill number 16-2019, an ordinance amending section 26-205 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws concerning the regulation of minor accessory structures in the residential 1 zone district, case number ZOA-19-04. The purpose of the proposed ordinance is to modify development standards for minor accessory structures in the R1 zone district, specifically as they relate to the rear and side setbacks and maximum square footage allowed per structure.
Thank you. This is an ordinance on second reading. It is a public hearing. It is not quasi-judicial. Does the clerk have an ordinance number for this item?
I do. This will be ordinance number 1675.
Thank you. I'm going to open the public hearing. And Mr. Goff, do we have a presentation on this?
We do. Mr. John Stone will have a brief presentation.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Johnstone.
Thank you, Mayor. Council initiated this ordinance earlier this year and had a study session on the topic back in August and provided pretty good direction at that time. As you know, the R1 zone district is the city's largest lot single-family zone district and predominant on the west side of town. It located throughout the city, but really predominant on properties that are on the west side of Kipling. So because it's the largest lot, it has some of the most restrictive development standards in terms of lot coverage and lot setbacks. And in particular, that is true for accessory structures. In fact, in all other residential zone districts in the city, the minimum side and rear setbacks for minor accessory structures, so smaller accessory structures and accessory structures that are lower in height by definition, is 5 feet everywhere else in the city, in all of our other zone districts, and here in the R1 district, it is 15 feet currently for both side and rear setbacks. So the proposal, as drafted, would literally change that requirement in R1 so that it would go from 15 feet for side and rear to 5 feet for side and rear setbacks for accessory structures. Council took that one step further, and I think you can probably speak to the intent of that better than I, but I think the intent was to limit it to really smaller accessory structures. So you went further by proposing to reduce the maximum size of a minor accessory structure just in the R1 district from 400 feet to 200 feet. So I think the intent of that would really be that these are, you know, what would typically be considered a shed, so not approaching anything like a garage or bigger workshop. So that would be the only type of structure that would be allowed to have that 5-foot side and rear setback. This is an amendment, Chapter 26, so it does require a recommendation by the Planning Commission. Planning Commission held a public hearing on October 17th and does forward a recommendation of approval. And I'm glad to answer questions.
Thank you. Before we go to any questions from council, I would like to open this up to the public for any public comment on this item. There is no one signed up to speak. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this that is not signed up? Seeing none, then we will close the public comment and open this up for questions of council. Before I close the public hearing, is there anything that you want to discuss with staff on this? Okay, I'm going to close the public hearing, and Ms. Davis, a motion is in order.
Thank you. I move to approve Council Bill Number 16-2019, an ordinance amending Section 26-205 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws concerning the regulation of minor accessory structures in the residential zone district R1 on second reading, and that it take effect 15 days after final publication.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Is there discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk please poll the council?
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Our next item is number 2. Mr. Pond, would you please introduce this item?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council Bill number 17-2019, an ordinance vacating any interest held by the city in a portion of West 38th Avenue, a public roadway. At issue, the city of Wheat Ridge holds rights-of-way in trust for the public. An irregular shaped strip of right-of-way running along the south side of West 38th Avenue eastward from Youngfield Street has been deemed to be excessive and unnecessary by Public Works. Staff recommends transferring the right-of-way to U.S. Retail Partners, LLC, owners of the Applewood Shopping Center.
Thank you very much. This is an ordinance on second reading. It is a public hearing. It is non-quasi-judicial. Will the clerk please confirm that this is ordinance number 1676?
It is.
Okay. I'm going to open the public hearing. And Mr. Goff, do we have a staff presentation on this?
We do. Our engineering manager, Steve Wynn, will give a brief presentation on this also.
Mr. Wynn, please continue.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening. For the record, I'm Steve Wynn, Engineering Manager for the Public Works Department. Tonight I will be presenting Council Bill number 17-2019, a request for approval of right-of-way vacation. A small tract of land located within the city of Wheat Ridge, specifically situated in the southwest quadrant of 38th Avenue and Youngfield Street, currently exists as right-of-way. Why vacation? The original right-of-way originally established for roadway improvement when the interstate ramp was located near 38th and Youngfield. And you can see there the red line there is a very wide radius there, as you can see. It was determined that the excess right-of-way is no longer needed subsequent to the reconstruction in 2008 to reconfigure the intersection by removing the high-speed right turn lane. The parcel is no longer needed and should be returned to the owner, and we're therefore recommending to vacate the parcel. This is more of a prelude to the land exchange for the area improvement, specifically for public improvements at the corner of 38th and Youngfield associated with development. The next slide shows here, as you can see in the past, is that very wide right turn. You can see why that right-of-way access was to accommodate this lane back then. But as you are aware now, that is no longer there, and that the right-of-way become excessive for what's out there today. And this is, again, as mentioned, is kind of a lead to a proposed exchange of land. The parcel in blue is what is up for consideration for vacation. The red parcel is what upon vacation, the property owner willing to deed that parcel over for other purpose and needs. And this case is for corridor improvements. First and important to be consistent with what we have done to the south of there, right, particularly in front of the hacienda. And we've been making effort to implement that corridor improvement for consistent look public improvements. So that's a bigger grand scheme of things. And I believe that is it. The two parcel, they're approximately about the same size, maybe a couple hundred square feet apart, but they're almost like an equal exchange. That concludes my for presentation. I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Nguyen. I will next go to public comment on this. I don't have anyone signed up to speak. Is there anyone here who's not signed up who would like to speak on this item? You may come forward now. All right. I don't see anyone, so we'll close the public comment and open it up to questions of staff from council. Mr. Matthews.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's a little hard for me to tell on the drawing here, but I'm assuming that that's vacation is behind the existing city monument, the Gateway Monument?
That is correct.
So there's just no interference?
No, none at all.
Okay,
we took that into consideration.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
Are there any questions of council, of staff? Before I close the public hearing, is there any more questions of staff? And we're going to close the public hearing, and a motion is in order. Mr. Pond.
Thank you. I move to approve Council Bill number 17-2019, an ordinance vacating any interest held by the city in a portion of West 38th Avenue on second reading, and that it take effect 15 days after final publication.
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Ms. Davis. Is there discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk please poll the council?
The motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. Our next item is agenda item number 3. Mr. Matthews, would you please introduce this item?
Item number 3, resolution number 58-2019, a resolution approving a major subdivision plat with right-of-way dedication for property zoned planned residential development in agricultural 1A1 and located at 5352, 5372, and 5392 Quayle Street, case number WS-18-01/Quayle Run plat. At issue, the applicant is requesting approval of a major subdivision with right-of-way dedication for an approximately 7.11 acre property located at 5352, 5372, and 5392 Quayle Street. The purpose of this subdivision request is to establish lot lines, tracts, easements, and right-of-way dedication for a 56-unit development with townhomes and single-family detached homes.
Thank you. This is a form of resolution. It is a public hearing. It is a quasi-judicial public hearing. And would the clerk please confirm that this is resolution number 58?
It is.
Thank you. I am going to open the public hearing. If you intend to speak on this item, would you please stand and raise your right hand? You swear or affirm that the testimony you will give in this matter is the truth as you understand it. If you do, please say, I do. I do. All right, you may be seated. And Mr. Goff, do we have a staff presentation on
We do. Scott Cutler, Planner 2.
All right, Mr. Cutler, please continue.
All right, I'm Scott Cutler. I'm a planner with the Community Development Department. This is case number WS-1801, which is approval of a major subdivision. I'd like to enter into the public record the contents of the case file, the subdivision regulations, and this presentation. Properties within the city of Wheat Ridge and all appropriate notification and posting requirements have been met, so therefore City Council has jurisdiction to hear the case. This is a 2018 aerial view of the property. The development site zoned PRD, Planned Residential Development, which was approved by City Council in 2018, and it's outlined in red. And then the subdivision boundary that we're looking at tonight can be seen in purple, which includes the A1 zone property to the south. and a small strip of land along the east side further south. Further to the south is an area zoned PRD, which is the Quail Ridge Estate subdivision. This is single-family homes on small lots that was completed earlier this year. And then the property is also surrounded by the city of Arvada on 3 sides, which is shown in green. It's just south of 54th Avenue and north of Ridge Road, about a half mile from the Wheat Ridge Ward commuter rail station. So tonight, we are looking at the subdivision plat. In April of 2018, City Council approved the zoning outline development plan for the site, which rezoned it to PRD. This established the permitted uses, layout, development standards for the site. And then a couple of weeks ago at Planning Commission, the specific development plan was approved. This provides the detailed site planning information, landscape plans, elevations, parking, and so on. It demonstrated conformance with the zoning and was approved. So tonight we're looking at the subdivision plat, which actually creates the lots for sale, the tracts, easements, alleys, and in this case, 4 public streets. For this project, there's 42 for-sale townhome lots across 10 buildings. There's also 14 single-family lots. 6 tracts, these are all going to be commonly maintained, and they include open space, drainage, and alleyways, and also there will be some utility easements. There will also be some public streets that are dedicated to the city, 53rd Avenue, 53rd Drive, Pearson Street, and a portion of Quail Street as well. The major subdivision is needed to sell this lots separately to homebuyers as opposed to condos or apartments, which do not require a plat. It also will dedicate the new public streets to the city. So as you saw, the plat and SDP have different boundaries, and in this image, the red dashed line shows the limits of the PRD zoning. This is the area that will actually be redeveloped as part of the already approved specific development plan. The plat includes that area and also the outlined yellow portion to the south. And the plat has this boundary for a couple reasons. One, the lot to the south of the portion needs to be involved in the plat because the rear portion of that area is being cut off and sold to this project to be used for the detention pond. You can see in tract D there, and then also for the Pearson Street right-of-way, which will connect south. The second reason is the narrow tail of the plat, this area. And this is the drainage conveyance, which will tie into the existing Skyline Estates drainage system via private property owner's lot. They've signed an agreement, which was reviewed and approved by Public Works, and all drainage and civil documents have been approved by Public Works at this time. This image shows the drainage tract in blue, and then the balance of the southern residential lot is platted as Lot 43. It is still over 1 acre in size and meets all minimum A1 ag lot requirements. If this or the lots to the south redevelop in the future, Pearson Street could be extended south. As you can see in the right-of-way, it goes to the end of the property subdivision, which would provide access to that area. The city's subdivision regulations require that roadways be platted to allow for future connections to adjoining land, and that's why Pearson Street extends south. You can also see the drainage tract extending south into the system. And then also, there's going to be some common open space for the townhomes. Each lot will have its own kind of private open space, but Tract A and Tract B will act as the common area for the development. The remaining pages of the plat are provided as an attachment, and they show all the different tracts, sanitary easements, drainage, water, utility, and access. These have all been coordinated with the utility providers. So for this project, there was a referral done to outside agencies. There's no concerns. Public Works and Planning have both found the plat and civil documents to be approvable. We did not receive any written comments for this plat application. We find that the plat complies with the subdivision regulations. It results in a logical lot layout consistent with the SDP and ODP. All agencies conserve the property. Planning Commission recommended approval, and staff is also recommending approval. I'm available for questions at this time. Thanks.
Thank you. Before we go to questions from council, I will open this up for public comment. I don't have anyone signed up to speak on this, but if you are interested in speaking on this item, you may come forth now. Is there anyone who would like to speak on this? I don't see anyone, so we will close the public comment and open this up from questions from council of staff. Are there questions before I close the public hearing? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing. And Mr. Matthews, a motion is in order.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve resolution number 58-2019, a resolution approving a major subdivision with right-of-way dedication for property zoned planned residential development and agricultural 1 located at 5352, 5372, and 5392 Quail Street for the following reasons. Number 1, City Council has conducted a proper public hearing that meets all public notice requirements as required in section 26-109 and 26-407 of the Code of Laws. Number 2, the requested subdivision has been reviewed by the Planning Commission, which has forwarded its recommendation of approval. Number 3, the subdivision plat has been found in compliance with Article 4 of Chapter 26 of the Code of Laws. And number 4, all agencies can provide services to the properties with improvements installed at the developer's expense. And with the following conditions. Number 1, the reception number of the Quail Street right-of-way in Arvada will be filled in prior to recordation of the SDP and plat. Number 2, the developer shall enter into a subdivision improvement agreement and a lot sale restriction covenant agreement prior to recordation of the subdivision plat. Number 3, prior to issuance of building permits, the developer shall provide homeowners association covenants for review by staff. Number 4, prior to recordation, the applicant shall pay the required fees in lieu of parkland dedication. Number 5, reconfiguration of the intersection of West 53rd Avenue and Quail Street shall be completed to the satisfaction of the city. And finally, number 6, all minor corrections to the plat shall occur prior to recordation.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Matthews, a second by Ms. Hoppy. Is there discussion on the motion? Seeing none, will the clerk please poll the council?
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much. We will move to agenda item number 4. Ms. Hoppy.
Before we start, Mr. Mayor, there we go. So I was going to ask for the lights to be back on.
Oh, okay. We're faster than light.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an ordinance on first reading, Council Bill number 18-2019, an ordinance amending sections 2-30, 2-31, and 2-32 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws concerning the duties of the Chief of Police, the Public Works Director, and Community Development Director, and authorizing changes to the city's organizational chart. At issue, the Wheat Ridge Charter 3.5 provides that council may, by ordinance, consolidate and or merge city departments, and that each department be under the supervision of a department head appointed by city manager.
This is an ordinance on first reading to set the time and location for a public hearing. A motion is in order, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve Council Bill number 18-2019, an ordinance amending sections 2-30, 2-31, and 2-32 of the Wheat Ridge Code of Laws concerning the duties of the Chief of Police, Public Works Director, and Community Development Director, and authorizing changes to the city's organizational chart on first reading. Order it published, public hearing set for Monday, November 25th, 2019 at 7 p.m. in City Council chambers, and that it take effect immediately.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second by Ms. Davis. Will the clerk please poll the council?
Motion carries 5-1 with Councilmember Matthews voting no.
Thank you. That concludes the agenda items on our meeting agenda. I'd like to turn now to city manager's matters. So welcome back to town, Mr. Goff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Welcome back to the snow. I'll start with that. There's already talk about tomorrow's snowstorm coming in again, and just a heads up, there could be some potential early closures of city facilities and maybe even late opening on Wednesday, depending on how bad it gets tomorrow. Other cities are already talking about it. We don't have a council meeting until November 18th, so don't show up for the next couple Monday nights. You'll be the only one here. So enjoy your time off. And a quick update on the Rocky Mountain Bottle Company. Got an update today that they are proceeding with the work on the quieting the oxygenator down. There's a little bit of lead time on some of the parts that they have to order, so they feel they're a couple weeks out right now. So I'll continue to provide updates as I hear them.
Terrific. Thank you so much. Mr. Matthews?
Thank you, Mr. Goff. Just FYI, I've gotten a few calls that they're making some new strange noises. I don't know if that's experimentation, but apparently they're at sometimes worse than they were in the past. So as you get more information, we'd appreciate you keeping us in the loop. Thank you.
Thank you. City Attorney's Matters, Mr. Dahl.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Thank you. We will go to Elected Officials Matters. We'll start with Mr. Keeter.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Matthews. Thank you. Ms. Dozman.
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Coming to Ms. Davis.
So I'll make it quick. But as Ms. Hulteen had said, this is our last meeting tonight. So I just wanted to take a moment and thank a lot of the folks over the last 8 years, which there's many, but I wanted to thank the city staff, those folks present and also those folks not present, because there's a lot of people behind the scenes that help us out and do great things. So please extend a thank you to them, and I'll probably extend it somehow, but you know me, I'll figure something out. And I also wanted to thank my fellow peers and elected officials, both present and past. We've all had some great discussions, and I think we've seen a lot of changes over the 8 years. So I want to thank them, and I also lastly wanted to thank the constituents in District 2 and in all the districts. I've really enjoyed the conversations and meeting folks. I usually try to get out every year and walk some blocks, probably hitting houses several times over my 8 years. So I wanted to thank everybody for the conversations and the discussions, both disagreements and also collaborations. And I just want to thank everybody for the last 8 years.
Thank you. Ms. Hoppe.
Well, I wanted to say thank you to George and Christy for all of their work on council. I remember, much like Ms. Hulteen, when I first started coming as a citizen and speaking in front of council, and I just really always appreciated your guys' work and seeing you in the community and things like our first one and only parking day that happened a very long time ago, if George remembers that, and then a lot of like the Ridge Fest that I've seen Christy at. So I'm really gonna miss you guys, and I just appreciate all your time and effort and that you've put into the community. And Ms. Shaver, this is her last official meeting also, and I just want to say thanks, Ms. Janelle, for all of your hard work. And I got the opportunity because there was a malfunction in our recording system one day when I was absent, and I got the opportunity to go in and just see how hard Ms. Janelle works to get those minutes, because she listens to it and then she stops, rewinds it a little bit, then listens to it, and that's on top of all the notes she already takes in the evening. So I appreciate all of your dedication and hard work for that. So thanks, you guys.
Thank you. Mr. Pond.
Well, I may have said at some point in the past that this was a thankless job. I've been proven wrong. Thank you. And I want to echo the thanks to staff and to council, and I wish I could call everyone out, but I certainly will reach out afterward, and it's been a pleasure working with the city staff and with counselors up here and out and about. I've learned a lot along the years, I think mostly about myself. Sometimes I've been happy, sometimes I've been sad. I think once I was patient. Several times I was frustrated. But all along, I think I shared with I think everyone who's walked into this room that I loved our city, and that's why I did this. It's perhaps a strange way to go about, being involved in loving your city, but I'd do it over again. I look forward to the new people who are going to be sitting up here and offer my support in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pond. I would like to offer my My thanks also to Ms. Shaver, Ms. Davis, and Mr. Pond. It's been my pleasure to serve with these individuals, both as a council person and as a mayor. I've been very inspired by the thoughtful thinking of the people that we have working and serving our city as elected officials. And I think it's you've all created yeoman service and great value for your fellow citizens. And I thank you for that, and I hope that this will not be your last foray into public service in our city, because we have a lot of great things going on, and we're always looking for talented people to put a shoulder to the plow, if you will. We will be, as Mr. Goff said, not in session in the next 2 weeks. Next week is the 4th, the day before an election. We have a general election coming for city council members, and there's ballot questions, and I hope every citizen will register to vote and vote and be thoughtful in the way you vote. It's very important super important feature in our democracy. The week after that is the 11th of November. Some may remember it as Armistice Day. We typically now think about it as Veterans Day, so I'd like to thank all of the veterans who have served our country and really appreciate their service. With that, we will see you at our next meeting. We will stand adjourned. Thank you.